Week 1 of Alabama's football season, that was pretty good. But I got a slight feeling that week 2, this week right here, gonna be a whole lot better, even better. It is Friday. Hottest show on the streets here, folks. TGIF edition of the show. You are locked and loaded into or onto the number one ticket for Crimson Tide football news. That being in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, is always overjoyed, excited to have each and every last one of you tuning into the show on tonight as we bring this to you from Tuscaloosa, streaming this on YouTube. Speaking of the channel, go ahead right now, give a thumbs up, drop a like on the show, hit that subscribe button, turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best news, notes, alerts, and analysis on your Crimson Tide. Not only are we streaming this to you through YouTube, we're hitting you on Facebook and Twitter as well. So all my Facebook people out there, all my Twitter people out there, streaming this to you also. We're hitting you from all angles, talking non-stop Alabama football. Crimson Tide taking on Texas A&M this weekend on Saturday, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff from Bryant-Denny Stadium. CBS will have the call. I got the opportunity. I was awarded the amazing opportunity to tour the new renovations, the $107 million project, which is the renovations inside Bryant-Denny. It looked incredible, unbelievable. It was MTV Cribs combined with a Las Vegas club. That's how dope that was. Now, I'm going to get into more of that conversation a little bit later on in the show, but I'll just say this. Nick Saban goes above and beyond for his players, and you will see that in the new renovations of the stadium. Seeing the stuff on Twitter, but actually seeing the thing in person, seeing the renovations in person, man, it makes Twitter not do it any justice whatsoever. But we got a lot to get into, a lot to talk about, a lot to discuss here on the show, and we want you to be a part of it right now. 205-448-1358, but I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358, and one more time, 205-448-1358. Want to hear from you tonight. Your thoughts, your feelings, your ideas, your concerns. What gets you excited when discussing Tide football? Definitely want to hear from you. It's always a great thing to have the man, the myth, the legend, the maestro in the production studio. My man John Ivory on the ones and twos doing his thing. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by two great guests. First and foremost, we'll have former Alabama linebacker Jerrell Harris, who played from 2008 to 2008 to 2011, part of a couple of national championships, 2009 and 2011. So it's going to be great to sit down with Jerrell Harris. And then after him, my good friend Mark Passwaters, who covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com. That's AggieYale.com, part of the Rivals Network. It's going to be cool to sit down with Mark Passwaters to talk about the Texas A&M football program as it faces Alabama this weekend. But we start things off here. First topic of conversation, and I mentioned on Wednesday that, one of the biggest matchups, or one of the key kind of matchups we'll be looking at in targeting the Alabama defensive front and the Alabama defensive secondary, being able to, that defensive front, pressuring Kellen Mond, not allowing him to have big opportunities in the passing game or create with his legs in the run game as well. Along with that, the defensive secondary being able to latch on, lock on to these wide receivers, even lock on to their tight end, Jalen Werdemeyer, really good tight end, and prevent A&M from really getting some big plays there on the offensive side of the football. But as I dove closer into this matchup, and I've always said, I'm a big man in a slender man's body. Big man in a slender man's body. So for me, the biggest matchup for me in this game will be the offensive line of Alabama versus the defensive front of Texas A&M. That's going to be a big matchup because in the years past, right, Texas A&M got to the SEC from the Big 12 in 2012. A&M since 2012, it's always had the bells and whistles offensively. Whether it was Johnny Manziel or Mike Evans, Speedy Noel, Ricky Seals-Jones, Josh Reynolds, it's always had the bells and whistles offensively. Defense was the problem for A&M for quite some time because they couldn't catch a cold, they couldn't stop a nosebleed, they couldn't stop the run, they couldn't defend the pass. A&M was so bad defensively that at one point in time, they brought in John Chavis, the Chief, that was the DC at Tennessee and LSU, and Chief was way past his prime, but they tried to bring him to A&M to see if he could revive himself and get that A&M defense where it needed to be at, and the experiment was a colossal failure and utter failure for the Aggies. But in getting Mike Elko from Notre Dame to coach the A&M defense the last 3 years, there has been some improvement on that side of the football. Let's be honest, that there has been. 2018, Elko and this group gave up 25.3 points per game. And then 2019, 22.5 points per game. So improvement there. It started off this season against Vanderbilt, giving up 12 points per game. So you see some improvement here from this Texas A&M defense. And this defense has a really good front. Najee Harris talked about it this week in player interviews. He talked about the defensive front of A&M and how it likes to twist, how it likes to turn, to stunt, to blitz, to hit gaps, to stuff the run game, but also create that pressure, generate that pressure to opposing quarterbacks. So This front here for Texas A&M, you got Buddy Johnson at linebacker. He anchors that front, so it's Buddy Johnson. The other linebacker is Aaron Hansford. So Aaron Hansford, knows the other guy right there. And it's got some really good defensive linemen. DeMarvin Leal is kind of their sack specialist. Behind him, you got Michael Clemens, who can stuff the run as well as defend the passing game. Jaden Peavy can do a little bit of both there. McKinley Jackson was the guy that Alabama and A&M were battling over in the 2020 recruiting cycle. Alabama really wanted McKinley Jackson. Texas A&M was pulling on him hard also. He ended up choosing the Aggies. Another guy in a recruiting battle between the Tide and the Aggies was Bobby Brown III. Bobby Brown, in a couple of recruiting classes ago, he was high on Alabama, but A&M wanted him also, and he ended up signing with the Aggies. And even one Christian Harris, in terms of the Crimson Tide, at one point he was committed to Texas A&M, according to our own Justin Smith, the lead scouting and recruiting analyst for Touchdown Alabama magazine. But as we all know, Christian Harris ended up decommitting from Texas A&M, and he flipped to the Crimson Tide. So in the last few years or so, there have been some intense recruiting battles between the Tide and the Aggies, and we are seeing this matchup right here with this Aggies defensive front. It's tough. It can create pressure. It can create sacks. It can stuff the run. But will it be able to hold its own against a very, very, very good offensive line for the Crimson Tide? And this is a group for Alabama that is going to look to continue to flex its potential Joe Moore Award-winning muscles here against A&M. Against Missouri, in that first half, the Alabama offensive line, flawless. I mean, the group of Leatherwood, Deontay Brown, Landon Dickerson, Emil Ekiyor, and Evan Neal, they did not allow a sack. They did not allow a quarterback pressure, or not too many quarterback pressures at all. I mean, Mac Jones was only hit one time, but delivered a touchdown pass. And then in the run game, really helped Najee Harris do his thing, as the young man accounted for 106 yards from scrimmage with 3 touchdowns. So this is an offensive line that, even with between 18 to 20,000 fans in the stands, is going to look to flex that muscle there in keeping Texas A&M off balance. Now, in this matchup here, this is kind of what I want to see here is the second and third team group behind the first group. Because we all know the first group of offensive linemen, they're going to handle A&M. That group's going to handle the Aggies. My question is, the second and third team guys, when the Pierce Quicks come in, when the Pierce Quicks, the Darian Dalcourts, the Chris Owens, the Tommy Browns, when the second and third wave of offensive linemen into the matchup, how will they handle the A&M front? Because much like Missouri, Mike Elko, Jimbo Fisher, they're going to keep that first team unit on the field and try to see how long can we go after Alabama? How long can we attack Alabama? How long can we frustrate Alabama? How long can we pressure Alabama? How long can we get or try to get into the head or into the psyche of this Alabama offensive unit? So for the second and third team guys that will get on the field to face Texas A&M, what have they learned from the week 1 matchup against Missouri? Against the Tigers, the second and third team guys, they had some issues there. They had some problems there, stopping Kobe Whiteside, stopping Nick Bolton, as those guys were able to knife their way into the backfield, get to Trey Sanders, get to Bryce Young, create some havoc there in the Alabama backfield. So for the second and third team guys on this line, what did they take from the week 1 matchup against Missouri, and how will they go about applying it here week 2 against Texas A&M, against a unit once again under Mike Elko that's very much so improved, that's dangerous on that side of the football, that can definitely stuff the run, sack the quarterback, but also create some turnovers in that effect as well. I mentioned this on Wednesday. Now, am I saying that A&M is going to beat Alabama? Absolutely not. There's a 17.5-point spread in favor of the Tide. I feel like Alabama's got way too many horses on both sides of the ball for A&M to deal with. However, I am saying this right here is it is going to be A&M sort of playing desperation football in a sense of offensively, they're going to throw everything at Alabama's defense just due to, Kellen Mond trying to go from good to great and, find a way of can he be the guy to pull off an upset against this Crimson Tide team. This will be his 4th time facing Alabama, while defensively in this matchup for A&M, the goal is going to be trying to come after the Crimson Tide, trying to rough up Mac Jones, trying to limit Najee Harris from making big plays, trying to embarrass or stalemate, if you will, this very experienced, dominant, strong offensive front here for the Crimson Tide. So while there's not really too many enticing matchups in this ball game, just for me, I'm going to look at the trenches here. The defensive front for Texas A&M under Mike Elko, who looks to take the next step in the continuation of improving the defense for Texas A&M versus an offensive line for Alabama to where Kyle Flood knows what he has as the O-line coach. Nick Saban knows what he's got as the head coach. Steve Sarkisian knows what this group is about as the offensive coordinator. I mean, he talked about it in fall camp. When you have a veteran offensive line, you can afford to throw in some different looks. You can afford to throw in a different wrinkle. You can afford to do some different things because a veteran group will be able to catch on to that type of thing and offset an opposing defense versus a young group, a rookie group, an inexperienced group, if you will. So to me, that's going to be the matchup I'm going to look at, over the weekend when I'm inside, Bryant-Denny Stadium on Saturday, checking out Texas A&M versus the Crimson Tide at 2:30. Very blessed, fortunate, excited to be able to cover this matchup in the home opener in my 12th year of covering the Tide for Touchdown Alabama magazine. So Alabama's offensive line versus A&M's defense, the matchup that I'm going to be really sinking, my teeth into. A&M's got good receivers, not like it had in recent years, but it's got good receivers. It's got a great tight end and Jalen Werdemeyer. But just for me, looking at this offensive line of Alabama versus this A&M defensive front, can that defensive front keep the game close? That's going to be the tail of the tape. Can this defensive front do enough to keep the game close and give Kellen Mond a chance? I don't think so, but we'll see what happens here. We take our first break on the show. Don't touch that dial. Just getting you started here on a Friday. When we get back, we entertain your phone calls, your thoughts, your tweets, your chats, your questions, your super chats as well right after this.
Every man deserves the proper representation. Whitwell Sports introduces to you the Title Towel. Wave that Title Towel in the air like you just don't care. In support of Nick Saban and the Alabama Crimson Tide. Only $9.99 and it lasts a lifetime. Head on over to whitwellsports.com and get your Title Towel today.
Remember the taste of Grandma's delicious sweets? Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes brings back those precious memories with just one bite. Each cake made from scratch. They make the perfect dessert to share with family and friends for any occasion, and ordering is easy. Visit Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Click the online store and shop. Then pick up your fresh cake at the kitchen in downtown Homewood. Order yours online at Emily'sHeirloomPoundCakes.com. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch.
We're back in here from the break on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. Hottest show on the streets, number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama magazine. The home opener, week one was great, but this week, Saturday, home opener between Alabama and Texas A&M. Inside Bryant-Denny Stadium, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff. CBS having the call for the game, and as always, so awesome, so grateful to have Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, full-time sponsor for Touchdown Alabama magazine and the show. In my own words, really appreciate Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes. They do a phenomenal job. But right now, before we go to the phone lines, we got a plethora of super chats to go over right now. You guys Love what you do supporting us here at TDA. So let's get this thing rolling here. We got DeMarco Brooks. DeMarco Brooks starting us off with that $10 via the Super Chats. Appreciate that, DeMarco Brooks. Then here comes Gucci Tide, two-stepping his way in the door. Gucci Tide, that $20 via the Super Chats. Appreciate that, Gucci Tide. Then we got my man, Senator Money Hines. Senator Money Hines, Pimps walks his way in here with the $40 in the Super Chats. Appreciate that, Senator. Then we got Roll Tide Rise Up saying, hold on, bro. Let me throw my 20 in here. So Roll Tide Rise Up, donating to us. That'd be the Super Chats. Then we got Marcus Big Man Davis. Marcus Davis, that $19.99 via the Super Chats. Appreciate that from Marcus. And then one of our baddest listeners in the land, Spencer Reveley, throwing in that $5 via the Super Chat. So we appreciate all the love coming from every single last one of you helping us out here on TDA. But it's your time, Tide Nation. 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. 205-448-1358. And we entertain our first call coming from my man, Wayland. Wayland, happy Friday to you, brother.
Well, it's TGIF on TDA. No better place to be than TDA. I tell you what. Better get Sway down there because y'all going to have some help to get out of there with all that money. And I'm calling Sway. Hold on just a minute. What's going on at TDA, Steven? Tell me all about it.
Doing good, man. Doing good. Hopefully we can get Sway on the phone today. Hopefully we can get Sway on the line, but doing good today, Waylon. Home opener for the Crimson Tide tomorrow against A&M. I got a chance to speak to one of the sports information ladies at the front desk inside Bryant-Denny, and I remember in talking with her, she spoke on Alabama trying to have between 18 and 20,000 fans at the game on tomorrow, but just getting the tour of Bryant-Denny before having the fans in on Saturday, that place looks tremendous with the new renovations. Nick Saban has gone above and beyond in making sure that nothing is more attractive than Alabama football. I mean, like I said, for the fans that walk inside Bryant-Denny tomorrow, you are going to see a place that has it's a feel for MTV Cribs meets a Las Vegas club casino. That's how crazy the renovations are.
Yeah, I saw all those pictures. I knew they was, when you're going to spend $107 million, you're going to make something pop. There's no doubt about it. But the one thing I was proud to see when they went down that tunnel and opened that door, there was Coach Bryant's picture.
Absolutely. And throughout the entire stadium and Wayland, you see photos of Coach Bryant, videos of Coach Bryant. When you come off a few of the elevators, they have strategic quotes from Coach Bryant on the wall.
Oh, yeah. They'll never forget Coach Bryant. I wish he could see this place. I guess he'd just shake his head. I don't know. I don't really know what he'd have to say. He was an earthly man. He'd tell you, ask him one time, how much you make a year. He said, I'll tell you what I'll do. He said, I'll coach this team for free. See how many coaches you get to do that today.
Not a lot of them. Not a lot at all.
That's how much desire and heart and how he felt for those kids and that football program that he coached it for free, and that's what he meant. That's what he'd do. Coach Bryant always stood behind his word. Coach Mal Moore, he's dancing around to see that place. So Mal always wanted to make sure Coach Bryant's legacy was continued on and to get the most updated facilities you could get to get those players down there, keep them healthy. And God knows what we got going on in this country now. We're going to have to we got this COVID-19 that's still running crazy here. We have with the president and his wife. And I may not agree with everything the man does, but you got to send the prayers out. We got a lot of problems on our hands in this country. People need to wake up and realize what's going on. But Spencer wrote a poem about you, and I've been doing a lot of poems. I get out of here quick. A lot of people in the queue. I'll always be in here in the chat every day talking. But we're gonna do the poems probably We'll do one, Lord willing, on the LSU game. We beat LSU, Lord willing, on the Auburn game. Playoffs, championship game, if we get there. Auburn game means 315 to me. It's not a rivalry game. Coach Bryant beat Coach Dye on his first year. They hired him in 1981. I remember watching it on the 315th victory. They asked Coach Dye when they hired him, how long did it take you to beat Coach Bryant? He said 60 minutes. I said, hell yeah, it took you 2 years. He beat him for the 315th victory, you know. That took a lot of air out of Coach Dye when he popped his mouth off. But I have respect for Coach Dye because Coach Bryant learned him everything he had. So y'all remember that. I'll be around, be in the chat. Y'all blowing this show up, all these super chats, all this money. I tell you what, y'all keep doing what you're doing at TDA, and I'll always be in the chat, and we'll cut down on the points, but we'll do some when the big games happen. So we're going to end it like this tonight. Everybody have a safe weekend, please. Safe weekend. Take care of you and your family. We'll be back on Monday. And this one's for you, Spencer. I tried to do the best I could. To all the haters and naysayers who listen to Stephen M., this is his YouTube channel. We Talk Bama. Y'all all tune in and gather around. Remember when Stephen gets up on his soapbox and gives you his heartfelt speeches, you get the best in you, show and notes. He gets all the YouTube votes. Remember Justin, who travels from sea to shining sea. He gives you all the recruits Bama fans need to see. We all love Aunt Emily's pound cakes. Just take a bite during the break. Here we go. Remember the Blue Ridge gang. Remember the Blue Ridge gang. You've raised enough money to buy Stephen M. the golden mic he deserves and has gained. Remember the Natties. When they bring it home, Stephen, Justin, and John will do the victory dance all the way home. All right, I'll see everybody on Monday. Y'all be safe. Bye-bye, Stephen.
Appreciate the love there, Waylon. Gotta get that gold mic. I don't know when it's coming, but that gold mic will look really cool right now. But we're gonna go to our next call here. Senator Hines. Senator, my man, it's Friday. How you feeling?
Man, you know how I am on Friday, man. It's game day eve, man. You already know, man. I'm sitting here getting the family together. We got to hit the road real quick, and I got to call in. So, man, Texas A&M is going down tomorrow. I'm telling y'all like this right now. For all the listeners in the chat, everybody that's listening to CDA through the podcast, we not giving up more than one touchdown. That's probably going to be in the third or fourth quarter. They're going to catch us slipping. We beat in Texas A&M 42-13. Key matchup is going to be Christian Harris versus the running back coming out the backfield, Anaya Smith. And a lot of people are underestimating Harris's ability to cover because of the miscues last year, him being a young player, just a lot of different factors playing in last year. But Christian Harris, people forget, he came to Alabama as an athlete. This is his second full season while playing football his whole life. This is his second season playing middle linebacker. And he's playing middle linebacker in a Nick Saban coach defense, who we all know is basically NFL level, type defense as far as comprehension, being able to make the right calls, be in the right spot. This young guy, he's 19 years old now, is thriving in that setting. He did very good as a true freshman last year, getting thrown into a role he had never played before in his life. So I think that's going to be the key matchup. That's going to be the X factor matchup for us on the defense side. Offensive side, I feel like Waddle being in the slot, I don't see a safety on that side that's going to be able to walk down and cover him. I don't see their nickel corner. They're going to have to bring their number one corner inside. And when you do that, that means your number one corner can't protect the outside. So they're pretty thin at defensive back. The matchup for us is going to be, I think the X factor matchup is going to be our run game versus their front. I don't think they have a deep rotation. I don't think they have a strong enough push up front. They sure didn't get one against Vandy, and Vandy's O-line is not great at all. So just want to weigh in with a few things to look at for all our fans that are watching. And I don't know about you, Stephen, but I'm an athlete myself, man. And when I watch football, I don't watch it like most people. I'm looking at, free safeties, how they breaking on the ball or how they're breaking on coverages, how they're doing run support. I'm looking at all the small technique stuff. Wide receiver releases, is the running back giving away the play before the play, when he's about to get the handoff. Like, I'm watching all that stuff. And Alabama, we're not showing very many weaknesses right now, man. So how you feeling, Steve? What's your outlook? What do you see as our X factor for tomorrow? What's going to be the X factor matchup?
I was going to give this in kind of my game ball segment, not the game ball, but in the impact player segment. But I guess I can tease it a little bit right now. You look at.
I'll wait.
Okay. As long as you are good waiting, I'm fine with that. But one of the players that I really like in this game defensively for Alabama. I don't know about y'all, but last week, LeBron Ray played like 2017 five-star LeBron Ray. I mean, that man is finally back healthy, exploding through his hips, sacking the quarterback. He looked like the LeBron Ray Alabama guy in that 2017 class. Now, remember, Coach Saban said when he's healthy and he's on this field, we are a completely different defense. LeBron Ray played lights out.
And I don't think people realize how fast that guy is, man. Like lateral speed. I watched him run down the play when they had the triple team sack on the poor little guy from Missouri, the quarterback, when they knocked his helmet off. And them boys that quarterback's not slow. He at least a 4.5, 4.6 guy. And Ray just hawked him down lateral speed, man. It was crazy, man. But I'm not going to hold it up, Steve. I know the queue is blowing up today. It's Friday. I just wanted to stop in, do my call in. Roll Tide, everybody in the chat. Spencer, Waylon, Rise Up, Roll Tide. My boy Nick Saban, Nick Jr., a.k.a. Day-Day, Kev, Will, everybody, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Stephen A., John Ivory, you guys doing it big up there on the show. I'm gonna keep listening in, man. But everybody have a Roll Tide night, have a Roll Tide evening, be safe, and let's catch the game tomorrow and support our Tide, guys.
Appreciate the love there coming from the man, Senator Hines, as he giving us a fantastic phone call here, folks. As always, 205-448-1358. But I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show, 205-448-1358. We got a couple more super chats right here. Kevin Compton, people. Kevin Compton, $99.99. That's $99.99 in the super chat. Kevin Compton doing his thing for real for the Blue Wrench gang. And Willie Beeman putting in that $10 for the super chats, donating to us here at TDA. So appreciate the love they're coming from Kevin Compton and Willie Beeman. But just a quick little thought here on the topic. The new stadium, the new renovations for the stadium, very proud of them. Nick Saban, also Greg Byrne, tremendous job. Like I said, what the renovations have done is Coach Saban continues to show he knows what the modern day student athlete wants. I know a lot of times people look at Coach Saban and go, he's losing his edge, he's losing his touch, he doesn't know what the young generation wants. But seeing these renovations, it just tells you, even when it's time for Coach Saban to make that move to retire, these new looks tell the story of nothing is going to be more appealing, more attractive, more enticing, more exciting, more compelling than Alabama football. Coach Saban going above and beyond, showing his players, I got your back. Not just on the field, but how we got to look while we're on the field, making sure we were as appealing as possible. Big ups there for Coach Saban in doing that. I really enjoyed my tour of the facility on Thursday. But we take another break here on the show. When we come back, we got two special guests on the In My Own Words hotline. You will hear from former Alabama linebacker Jerrell Harris and my man Mark Passwaters, who covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com after this.
If you want delicious home-style cooking, sushi, and hibachi, check out Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. At home and you can't get away from the TV because the Crimson Tide is about to score? Don't worry, delivery is also available through Waiter and Crimson To Go. That's Otoro Hibachi in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. And make sure you let them know the good folks at Touchdown Alabama sent you. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We're back into the action here, folks, on the hottest show on the streets, the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news on a Friday, TGIF edition of the show. In my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, appreciating all of you for tuning into the show on tonight to talk about your Crimson Tide. But we hop on over to the In My Own Words hotline, where we pick up a two-time national champion linebacker for Alabama football, played from 2008 to 2011, Jerrell Harris. Welcome into the show, brother. What's going on?
What's going on, baby? What's going on?
We got Jerrell Harris in the building, the pride of Gadsden, Alabama, join us live here on In My Own Words. And Jerrell, first and foremost, man, you played for some incredible defenses in the Nick Saban era. The 2008 defense was a good group. The 2009 defense set the standard. Of course, you were also on that 2011 defense with Courtney Upshaw and Dante Hightower. They didn't play no mess. They were on the grind, really on the grind. What did you see from the performance from Alabama last week defensively that has you really excited this season?
Man, yeah, absolutely, man. I was a part of a lot of great defenses at Alabama. For me, what I've seen, man, I've seen just the tenacity and the wherewithal to get after the ball, right? That was, I think, one of the things that we did best, and that was one of the things that I actually seen from the guys last week, man. They was getting after the ball. You know, I was seeing a lot of the guys, you know, for me, I'm not always watching the first person, but I'm watching the rest of the defense. How does the rest of the defense attack? How are they swarming? We used to call it swarming. How are you swarming the ball? And because if the first person missed, you know, somebody got to be there to get it. And I saw a lot of that, man. So it was beautiful sight to see that.
Now, offensively, Jerrell, you also played with a lot of confident quarterbacks. 2008, your freshman year was John Parker Wilson, very confident dude. 2009 was Greg McElroy. 2010 was Greg McElroy. And then 2011 was the first year, of A.J. McCarron, another really confident guy. When you watch Mac Jones on the field last week, is there somebody that he kind of reminds you of, and what did you enjoy about Mac Jones's performance?
Oh yeah, definitely, man. I think he definitely reminds me of A.J. McCarron. I can actually say that, man. He's shown me a lot in the couple games that he's been the leader and been able to hold the reins, man. That he believes in his ability. You definitely can see that, and he's backing up. Of why he's in the position right now. He's saying, hey, I can get this job done and just, give me a chance. And he's doing that. So, hey, man, I'm proud of the kid, man.
If you're just tuning into the show, ladies and gentlemen, we got former Alabama linebacker Jerrell Harris on the phone lines right now, played for the Crimson Tide from 2008 to 2011, a two-time national champion Harris is. And Jerrell, so when you have a guy like Dylan Moses, right, you played linebacker. When you have a guy like Dylan Moses, he's coming back from a serious knee injury. You really don't know how is he going to react? How's he going to do? How's he going to play? He's confident. He's got the ability, but you really don't know what's going to be the resolve when he first gets back on the field coming off a injury that he had last August in camp. So just assess how you felt Dylan Moses played in his first time back being the captain of this group.
I think he did a hell of a job. I think, man, he was instinctive. I think he attacked the ball. I think he showed his athleticism. He was running sideline to sideline, a lot of energy. He was making plays. I think he was back in his element. Coach Saban said it best when he said that Dylan was one of those type of guys that last year we couldn't afford to lose, and we did. And I think he's helped him kind of get back that confidence, because you know, and everybody knows, when you have an injury of, you know, any type of magnitude, it kind of slows you down a bit mentally. And I think now that game last week kind of showed them, like, hey, like, you know, you just as good as before, and you can help this team win a lot of games.
Absolutely. So, you know, this week, Alabama takes on Texas A&M, a team where you've got one of Nick Saban's former assistants, Jimbo Fisher, on the other side of the field trying to get a win, you know, over his former boss. But as you look at this game, what's the biggest matchup in your mind between both of these two teams? What's the most intriguing matchup on the field?
I think the most intriguing matchup for me is going to be the secondary and the receivers. I think Texas A&M got some good receivers. I think they're going to try to air the ball out. And I think our DBs are growing, they're maturing, they're getting better. And I really want to see them step up and have a big game. I really want to see them. You know, of course, from us having to replace a couple starters in the secondary from last year, we got a true freshman, Malik, at the star position. I think so for them, it's going to be a test for them this week. I think Texas A&M will try to challenge them in the air.
Now, is there any defensive back in particular, Jerrell, that you're targeting to say, I really want to see this young man step forward, come forward, and be a leader, a real leader on that back end? Any particular DB you're targeting?
I would have to say, and forgive me for not remembering his name, but number 2.
Surtain, Patrick Surtain.
Patrick Surtain, man. I'm really anxious to see him become the guy that we signed. Right? I think he's done, a fairly good job so far, but I don't think he's touched to where he can be so far yet. I think he's still feeling his way around. But I think, man, if that kid can, turn the switch on, I think that'll be huge for our secondary, and not only for him and his journey going to the NFL. I think he has the capability to be a first round pick, but he has to flip the switch. I don't think he's flipped it yet.
He's Jerrell Harris, ladies and gentlemen, former Alabama linebacker, played from 2008 to 2011, a two-time national champion, helping us out here on the show, talking Crimson Tide, Texas A&M on In My Own Words. Jerrell, man, we appreciate you taking time out of your Friday to spend a few moments with us to talk Tide football. You be safe out there. Be good on the road, man. Enjoy the game tomorrow.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. Jerrell Harris, former Alabama linebacker, taking time out of his day to join us here on the show. But we're going to keep it on the phone lines because now we shift to a really good friend of mine. Met this guy back at SEC Media Days, known him a long time. It's my man, Mark Passwaters, who covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com, part of the Rivals Network. Mark, how you feeling, man?
You expect me to follow that up? A two-time national champion, and then you get me? I bet you your ratings are going to drop here, Steven.
No, Mark. Mark, you are the full course meal here, brother. Mark, no. But so this week it's Alabama and A&M, Mark, and of course, Aggies took on Vanderbilt last week. Not the greatest showing by the offense, however, the defense under Mike Elko really played well. Is there a sense of pressure on Jimbo Fisher in this game, especially that it's year 3 of him as the head coach? Is there an intense pressure on Jimbo?
I think the intense pressure on Jimbo is whether or not he's going to pull the plug on Kellen Mond if he doesn't improve his play. Jimbo is a very good coach. He's recruited extremely well. I don't think there's any doubt that A&M is a tougher, improved team from where they were, when he took over. But the big problem is Mond hasn't improved the last couple of years, and that's playing into Jimbo's stubbornness. If there's one problem he has, is he's stubborn. He sticks with his guy maybe too long. And, Mond was probably the main reason that A&M didn't blow Vanderbilt out last weekend. He's made some bad mistakes mentally. Turned the ball over 3 times. You take a look at that game, they averaged nearly 7 yards a play. That should be more than good enough to put up a lot of points. But they didn't. And, you take a look at Mond, and his performance has not improved from year to year to year. and now you're a senior and you're struggling with Vandy, that's the source of some frustration. So, just how long is it going to go is the question.
So for me, in asking you this, Mark, and if you're just tuning in the show, people were joined by Mark Passwaters on the phone lines, covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com, part of the Rivals Network. So, Mark, what has hindered, in your opinion, what has kind of hindered Mond from making that jump from good to great? Because he came out of high school, he was highly talented out of San Antonio, Texas. He had a good freshman year. He has some tools to really be dynamic, but what's held him back?
This is going to sound weird, but I think that a lot of it is his intelligence. And that's not to say he's stupid. To the contrary, he's extremely smart and maybe too smart. You've seen guys in the past that are too smart for their own good, that overanalyze things, that second guess themselves repeatedly. And when you're a quarterback, you just don't have time to do that. He's tremendously talented, and he has shown flashes where he's been brilliant. And not coincidentally, it's when he's under a lot of pressure. He doesn't have a lot of time to think things through. He's got to make plays because he's trying to rally his team. And that's when he's been at his best, cutting things down, being simple, just seeing what he sees, making the right reads, and getting the ball out. That, I think, has just been a big issue, that he's just, he doesn't trust himself. And add in having a bad offensive line last year and receivers that were disappointments in Courtney Davis and Kendrick Rogers, and I think that you've got a guy with a little bit of a confidence problem.
So as we flip this over here to the defense here, Mark, because now it looks like when A&M first came to the conference in 2012, everybody was like, well, A&M's offense is great, but the defense can't catch a cold. Now it's like with Mike Elko in here, the defense has actually made some improvements. Everyone talks about the defensive front being good, but what does A&M have in the secondary that Alabama should be aware of?
Speed, a lot of it. They have one of the best safeties in the conference in Damani Richardson. He's a sophomore. People may remember him last year picking off Tua in the end zone. I think that was Tua's first interception of the year. This kid is big. He's 6'2". He's about 205 pounds, can really run. He's a guy that could be the next star in that defense. Then you got Leon O'Neal, who last year struggled a lot but had a great first game. He's a hard-hitting safety. He's got some size as well. Miles Jones is a corner that people will probably recall. He's about 6'4". He apparently had a great camp, so they're really high on him. And then a 5-star corner, a true freshman named Jalen Jones, who I've watched a lot. He's from the Houston area, and I've seen him at camps and things of that sort. He's got good size, he's got good speed, and he tends to rise to the challenge. And I think that obviously with Waddle and Smith, the challenge is pretty immense tomorrow.
Challenge definitely immense here for this Texas A&M secondary under defensive coordinator Mike Elko. But we have Mark Passwaters on the phone lines right now. If you're just tuning into the show, in my own words here, Mark Passwaters covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com. So, Mark, in order for A&M to keep this as close as possible, to give itself a chance, what's the one thing that has to happen?
No turnovers. That's the big thing. You take a look at last week, they were on the way to scoring points at every possession that they turned the ball over. And that's 3 fumbles and a botched fourth down. I'm gonna count that because they had Mon not fumbled the ball, even though he recovered it, they get the first down. And probably more than that. He probably would have scored. So that's it. The offense has to play mistake-free football. And you take a look at the last several games that A&M has played at Tuscaloosa, but really, honestly, most of the times that these two teams have played, it's been A&M's turnovers that have been the difference in the game. That's been the backbreaker. You take a look at the last time they went to Tuscaloosa, A&M was right in that game with 2 minutes to go. They get called for a big penalty. Alabama scores. Mon makes a bad pass, gets picked off. Alabama scores again right before the half, and then the route is on. So A&M has to play mistake-free football. If they do that, I think the defense can slow down the running game some. Maybe they can make Mac Jones throw maybe a little bit more than they want to. and then they're in the ballgame.
He's Mark Passwaters, ladies and gentlemen. Covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com, part of the Rivals Network, graciously joining me here on In My Own Words to break down Texas A&M and its matchup with Alabama this weekend. Mark, my man, we appreciate you coming on, spending some time with us. You stay safe, man. Take care. Be good out there.
Thanks, buddy.
Absolutely. Mark Passwaters. Really enjoyed him coming on to talk Texas A&M football, with us as the Aggies and the Jimbo Fisher try to keep itself in this ball game and maybe give itself a chance for some type of success here against the Crimson Tide. But we take another break here on the show. Don't touch that dial. Upon our return, we get back to the phone lines. We entertain your phone calls, your tweets, your chats, your texts, your thoughts on Bama football. We get to you, Bama Nation, after this.
T-Town Menswear in the University Mall in Tuscaloosa. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
We are back into the action here, folks, on the hottest show on the streets, the number one source for Crimson Tide football news in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. It was awesome in the last segment getting the chance to catch up with former Alabama linebacker Jerrell Harris and my good friend Mark Passwaters, who covers Texas A&M for AggieYale.com, part of the Rivals Network. Alabama, the home opener this weekend, Bryant-Denny Stadium, 2:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff between the Crimson Tide and those Aggies of Texas A&M. But, ladies and gentlemen, but before we get into the next thing right here, the next topic right here, or get into your phone calls right here, we got our thing right here. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, great sponsor right here. Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making those great memories from scratch here. Gotta get a sample. I gotta get a little taste of one of these pound cakes right now. And these things are the bomb diggity. Let me get one of these right now if I can get it open. Come on now, Steve, get the thing open. Oh man, woo, man, sweet Jesus, yes. We got blueberry and lemon right here, folks. We got the chocolate pound cake right here, and we have we got the original slice. We got the blueberry lemon, chocolate pound cake, and the original slice right here, folks. So courtesy of our great people of Emily's Heirloom Pound Cakes, making memories from scratch. This right here is fantastic. But we are back in the action here, folks. 205-448-1358, and I'm going to call in to let your voice be heard on the show. It's back on you, Bama Nation. 205-448-1358. And one more time, 205-448-1358. But as you're getting your thoughts together here, cool topic right now in terms of Alabama and the NFL. Now, how about this? One of my favorite players from that dominant 2016 defense for the Crimson Tide was cornerback Marlon Humphrey, the pride of Hoover High School here in Alabama. Marlon Humphrey had a great tenure, great career at Alabama. The son of Bobby Humphrey, a legendary running back for the Crimson Tide. Marlon was drafted in the first round of a 2017 venue to the Baltimore Ravens. And he has had a sensational career since being drafted. Ozzie Newsome had a big role in getting Marlon to Baltimore. John Harbaugh loves the young man. The defensive staff loves Marlon Humphrey, and on Thursday, with all of the hard work he does in that secondary, whether it's forcing turnovers, creating fumbles, creating interceptions, playing well on the back end, with all the hard work that Marlon has done, the Baltimore Ravens decided we're going to give you a big payday. The Ravens extended Marlon Humphrey's deal, a 5-year extension worth $98 million. 5-year extension worth $98 million for Marlon Humphrey. Really proud of the young man, especially how he has become the leader of this defense with the departures of C.J. Mosley and Eric Weddle and Terrell Suggs, and even though it lost Earl Thomas, or the loss of Earl Thomas doesn't hurt at all there for Baltimore. The job that Marlon Humphrey has done, tremendous young man. And what really got me was in his press conference and how he paid homage to his dad, how he was fighting back tears, fighting back emotions. He actually did cry, but he was fighting back emotions in paying the ultimate respect to his dad, Bobby. And, Bobby Humphrey, a tremendous influence in the life of his children, and really did a great job keeping Marlon out of trouble, keeping Marlon on the straight path, and encouraging his son to understand, you got a lot of gifts, young man. You got a lot of talents. If you just keep your head on straight, you can be something really special in playing football. And Marlon took heed to that. He understood that. He abided by that. And just the work that, Mr. Bobby did, it just shows how fathers are needed in the home. Fathers are needed to be instrumental, to be impactful, to be active in the home, and just the respect that Marlon paid his dad in the presser for the Ravens after earning the 5-year extension worth $98 million. Just big day for the Humphrey family. Very happy for Marlon. And along with that, the wide receiver that was drafted from Alabama, one of the wide receivers drafted in this year's class, Mr. Jerry Jeudy. Jerry Juke Moves Jeudy, that is. Here's a guy that came from Deerfield Beach, Florida, 5-star in the 2017 class, and a young man that stands in the top 5 all time for Alabama in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. And he was regarded as the most complete receiver in this draft class. John Elway knew he needed a prime-time guy in this draft on the outside. He took Jeudy at number 15 overall. He had a tremendous training camp, was destroying guys in training camp. But Bronco fans want to see, is he the guy that can get it done on the field on game day? Last night, Thursday Night Football, we saw it, folks. I mean, Brett Ripon, first-year starter at quarterback for the Broncos. Drew Lock with a shoulder injury. Ripon, not his best performance, but when he needed a big play in the second quarter, who he called? He called Jeudy. And Jerry Jeudy with a 48-yard touchdown reception where he, catches the ball, breaks a tackle, gets into the end zone, does a dance there, and helps the Broncos defeat the Jets. But before I finish up that conversation, we got a phone call to take right now. You're live on In My Own Words. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on with you, big dog?
Man, I am doing good, man. Doing fantastic. Ready for Alabama, Texas A&M, but just doing a little talking about my man Marlon Humphrey got that big extension, man. Well worth it.
Yeah, I hear you, big dog. See you in that pound cake in front of me, big dog.
Man, you know what? You gotta love Emily's heirloom pound cakes, man. I mean, Emily, this is the stuff right here. This is the jam right here.
I hear you. I'm gonna have to try some of that sometime. Tell me what you think about the game tomorrow, dog.
I'm excited about it, man. I'm excited about it. We've had some great callers in here to talk about it. Had my man Mark Passwaters from AggieYale.com to come through here, and he was honest about Kellen Mond and the struggles he has had throughout his career. But for me, I feel confident right now. I like the offensive line. I think Najee Harris has a big day on the ground. Mac Jones continues to do his thing throwing the football. I think we could see a huge game, not just from Jalen Waddle, but keep your eyes on Devontae Smith. I feel like Smitty saw Waddle go off against Mizzou, and he's like, hold on, man, let me snatch that mantle back from you, bro. Like, I want some of that. And so defensively, I think Dylan Moses and company, they go out here, they get the things cleaned up that they messed up a bit against Missouri, get them cleaned up against A&M, and it's going to be a great game.
Yeah, I hear you, big dog. I'm going to be watching it 2:30, and I can't wait to see the tide roll, baby. But y'all be good out there, big dog. I'm going to see y'all next week. Roll Tide, baby.
Absolutely, my man. Appreciate the call right there. Showing us the love here on TDA. But the last just final thoughts here on Bama and the NFL. Proud of Marlon Humphrey. Well worth it of a deal. Showing that respect to his family. And then for Jerry Jeudy, he becomes the first player in the 2020 draft class for Alabama to have a touchdown here for the NFL to start this season. But we'll take another break here on the show. Upon our return, I get into my top 5 impact players for Alabama against Texas A&M. Don't touch that dial. We'll be back after this.
If you're an avid Alabama Crimson Tide fan and you love to flaunt it, then show your Alabama Crimson Tide support by grabbing the All-Bama sneakers. They feature bold Crimson Tide graphics, so no one will be able to question where your allegiance lies. When you add these sweet sneakers to your Alabama Crimson Tide collection, go to stsfootwear.com and use the code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. That's code TDAlabama for $15 off your purchase. Go to stsfootwear.com and get your All-Bama sneakers today. Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $7.95 per month, or pay $74.95 for a full year subscription. That's a yearly saving of $20. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, we are back into this thing, rocking and rolling on the number one forum for Crimson Tide football news, in my own words, with yours truly, Stephen Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. As always, give a thumbs up, give a like on the show, hit that subscribe button. Be sure to turn all of those notifications on so that way you can have the best in news, notes, updates, and analysis on your Crimson Tide. Got a chance to enjoy myself a little bit of Emily's heirloom pound cakes in that previous segment there. Man, need me some milk there right now. But I'll be all right. I will be okay. But before we jump into the final topic of conversation, got to remind you guys of TDAwear.com. TDAwear.com. You are a diehard Crimson Tide football fan. You love it. You rock it. You shop with it. You go to church in it. You go to sleep in it. You would just enjoy Alabama football. Got to bring your attention to TDAwear.com. Get your shopping done right here. We got your shirts for you. We got your hoodies for you. We got everything you want in terms of apparel for Crimson Tide football right here. Whether it's the We Want Football shirts, the Let Them Play shirts, the I Love Hearing Touchdown Alabama shirts, whatever you need, we the plug. Gotcha. Right here, TDAwear.com, showing that appreciation for Coach Saban, the University of Alabama football program, the student athletes, and of course us here at Touchdown Alabama Magazine. But getting into now, final topic here of conversation, folks. This is my top 5 impactful players for Alabama against Texas A&M. Now, we're going to do something a little different this week. I'm not including Mac Jones. I'm not including Dylan Moses. I'm not including Devontae Smith or Jalen Waddle. These are guys that we know what they're capable of. We know what they can do. We know what they can provide. So we're going to do this a little different without including some guys here. So here we go here. Starting from 5 to 1. At number 5, my number 5 most impactful player for Alabama against Texas A&M this weekend. I know LeBron Ray's playing good ball right now. I know LeBron Ray's a big deal right now. I know Coach Saban said that with LeBron Ray on this defense, it's a different defense. But I'm going to go with Christian Barmore as the number 5 impactful player in this game. Why? He returns this week. He's back this week. He's healthy this week. I had one source in particular tell me, don't be surprised if he starts in this game. He's ready to go this week. And remember, it was last season against Texas A&M that was the first SEC game, first conference game, where Barmore went off, attacking Kellen Mond. He had a sack in the game, a tackle for loss, couple of really, really big plays. Now he's at home, Bryant-Denny Stadium, in front of the fans. Christian Barmore, watch him this week. wreak some havoc. And after not playing against Missouri, he's looking for a little double dipping in production here. At number 5, Christian Barmore. At number 4 for me, I know the offensive line doesn't get a whole lot of love, but at number 4 for me as an impact player, give me Alex Leatherwood at left tackle. And for the simple reason of A&M's got a good front. They've got some edge rushers. They got some pass rushers. They got some guys that can affect the quarterback. They got some speed guys on the edge there. And one of the small few things that Leatherwood struggled with last year is containing those speedy type edge rushers. He did a good job against Missouri's front. So this is week 2, taking on a really good Texas A&M defensive front. How does Alex Leatherwood play in this regard right here in protecting Mac Jones, but also getting Najee Harris on that edge for him to have a big-time performance? Number 4, impact player, give me Alex Leatherwood. Sliding on down to number 3, my impact player, give me the boy Josh Jobe. It is Josh Jobe time. Patrick Surtain II, people want to see him do well. People want to see him excel. But after watching Jobe play well against Missouri, no pass interference, no defensive holding, locked down inside of the field, played strong technique football. Can he do it again? Can he repeat it for a second straight week? Can he possibly create a turnover this week? A lot of you out there feel like Josh Jobe could be the guy to get the first interception for the season for this defensive backfield. So number 3, give me Josh Jobe as the impact player here for the Crimson Tide. Moving on down to number 2, as good as Devontae Smith is, as good as Jalen Waddle is, my impact player for number 2, John Mechie. And the reason why Mechie's number 2, I go back to this right here. All those times that Kevin Norwood played against Texas A&M, Kevin Norwood made some big plays. I've said Mechie is Calvin Ridley's Canadian twin, but I've also have seen he's got a little Kevin Norwood in him. Watch John Mechie on 3rd down in this game. Watch Mac Jones a few times. He will look for number 8, John Mechie on 3rd down against Texas A&M. And I honestly believe why. I honestly believe this is the reason why he earned the number 3 job at wide receiver over Javon Baker and Slade Bolden, because of his dependable hands, because of his reliability to catch the football and to catch everything thrown in his direction. So at number 2, give me John Mechie here for the Crimson Tide, impact player here. And at number 1, Najee Harris, self-explanatory at running back. Najee's trying to continue that Heisman campaign. He's trying to continue, building what he is doing here on the ground. After a 100-yard from scrimmage day against Missouri, he's looking for a full 100-yard rushing performance next to get that done against Texas A&M here in week 2 of Alabama's season. So running back through these again, number 5, I got Christian Barmore. Number 4, I got Alex Leatherwood at left tackle. Number 3, I got Josh Jobe at cornerback. Number 2, I got John Mechie at wide receiver. And at number 1, I got Najee Harris at running back. So switching it up a little bit when you talk about my impactful players for this game against the Aggies, especially when we know what Mac Jones can do. We know what Dylan Moses is capable of. We know what a lot of these other guys can do on the field. So I wanted to kind of switch it up a little bit in terms of the impact players. But I'm definitely excited here for this first game, for the second game of the season, the first home opener here against the Texas A&M Aggies. But as always, Tide Nation, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on your favorite program. It's very simple and easy to do. You can do it by accessing the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. You download it from the iPhone App Store if you're rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you have the Android phone. For your audio listening needs, we got you covered here. iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Spreaker, Google Play, Overcast.fm, TuneIn Radio, iHeartRadio, we got you covered. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I'll be back on Monday continuing the conversation that is Tide football. Also, Bama Nation, we have a live game day chat for the game. Live game day chat for the game. We have it here, TDA. That link will be found in the description. The TDA staff will be in the game chat. But TDA staff will be live in the game chat. So you check out the game day live chat. That link will be found in the description for tomorrow. Also, you can purchase individual copies of Touchdown Alabama magazine. Have those sent to your door. The link will be found in the description. But until next time, folks, husbands love your wives. Wives appreciate, value those husbands, children, weekend, but still do those things legitimately to not be bored. Get you those 3 hearty meals a day, those 3 great laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Enjoy the game this weekend. Until next time, folks, spit in my own words.